Hey, what's going on, guys? So I have got the tank prepped and ready to get put on. It is exhaust time. Let's go ahead and take out our servo. We're gonna delete our O2 sensor because we don't need that anymore. And we need to unplug everything, pull our servo out. I'm not taking off the rear wheel or the suspension parts or lifting up the bike. I can kind of get in there. It's pretty tight, but let's get to it. This is obviously going to be a hell of a lot easier with the tank off and the side fairings. Make sure you guys do that. Check out this video if you want to see how to remove your tank. So just right up under here, under your suspension, you've got two mounting bolts for the servo, one here and one on the other side. The only way to get to it that I see is fit is to use a wrench. The wrench is an 8mm, and this is the bracket that the servo motor is kind of chilling on. So this first bolt is the bolt that everybody says is super easy to get to, and the next one is not very easy. I've also heard people have to separate the actual servo motor from the bracket to be able to pull it out. I'm game, I'm down for whatever. Shouldn't be that bad if I just take my time. There's our first bolt. From the top down, you can kind of see the other bolt. It is a little tight to get to, but with an 8mm wrench, it's not bad. It is gonna take forever to get this thing out. It's like 20 turns, and I can only turn it about a quarter turn at a time, so it's gonna take a little bit. All right, got our second bracket bolt out. Now the servo is just kind of hanging out in here. Can move it around. We got a couple zip ties on the frame. We also have this little gray piece down here that is zip tied. So we got this little clamp piece here that is zip tied as well. I just went ahead and cut it. Kind of get this thing moving around a little bit more now. Let's see where we're hung up at. I think it's just the wires for the exhaust, yeah. Just literally keep taking this thing apart until it comes out or until you can get it out. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep moving this around and scratching up your parts. And that's the last thing I wanna do. So it looks like on the servo motor, we have two 10mm bolts. This one is very easy to get to, and the other one looks like it might be a complete pain. These servo bracket bolts are the longest threaded bolts I've ever seen. There we go. Finally got one off. Looks like it has a spacer for the bracket too. Look at that. Come on, Suzuki, you're killing us. Alright, so the middle bracket is a little more freed up now. Now I've just got to get the other bolt, which is a complete pain. I think it's buried catty corner in there. So let's see if I can get to it here. I can see it. Oh, there it is. You know what? I might be able to get a socket on that. I'm gonna try. Oh yeah, we're right here. Alright. That is a lot easier, guys. So definitely do this with your tank off. As you can see, you can go right through. There we go. There's our other bolt. There is still a spacer in here somewhere. I will find it in a little bit. Oh, and the bracket fell out too. Here's our bracket, guys. Mount that on your wall. Of course, we cut ourselves. Wouldn't be fun unless you did that. So now the servo motor can get pulled out, it looks like. I just have to unconnect the actual lines to the exhaust, and I think she'll pull right out. On the ground over here by the bike, we're just gonna start unbolting some of this stuff. Should be a 12. We're just gonna start unbolting this stuff until it comes off. There's our nuts, and There's this. Look at all this stuff. Wing, wing, wing. We've got up. All right, that's okay. Let's get this clamp off. There we go. We got a couple tightening nuts that are kind of holding us back here. Little retaining nuts down here are a 10 millimeter. There we go. You can just kind of put the wire through the middle of the wrench and get after it like that. Second one's loose. We'll just kind of pull these out. Go ahead and tighten up my nuts so they don't fall off. And now these can just pull right out. Back over here on the servo motor side, let's see if we can pull this out. I'm sure there's an electrical connector somewhere that I'm gonna have to unplug. So we're gonna take off this plate from the servo motor on the inside here. This little bolt on the inside is a 7 millimeter. All right, cut that little bolt out. Whoa. Oh God, it's connected still. Oh, no it's not. Oh, yeah it is. Take this plate off. On the servo motor, it looks like we have this little metal clamp. I'm gonna try and pull that up. To unclip it, so the clamp unhooks the actual cables from the servo motor. So that we can take our cables out of the servo motor. And this is where they tell you make sure you like lift up the back of the bike to uncompress the suspension so you can get this out a little cleaner, but I kind of don't listen and just want to like pull it out myself. Oh! Oh! I think I got it! I got it! Guys, the way to go, this has to be facing down right here. It goes down like this. This piece goes between the suspension and the actual frame, and then it pulls out. Nice! Got you! Sounds like we're getting hung up somewhere. See if we can pull them down from the other side. Let's take this metal bracket off. There we go. Took the metal bracket off. We should be able to pull these servo wires through the bottom side, hopefully. Come on down. There we go. All right, got our servo wires off. Now, the only thing that's left to do with the servo is disconnect it from the electronics up under the seat. Looks like right up under here next to the battery is where the two wires connect. We are gonna get the VIP of any project out, the pick. I still have the bolt in this side fairing. Just kind of bend it back a little bit. There's one disconnected. All right, got our servo motor disconnected. Got all the guts out. People say this saves weight. Guys, if you're trying to save this much weight, you need to hit the gym. These plugs in here, I am gonna leave them unconnected. They're already kind of tucked up in here pretty well, and they're tucked up under this piece right here, and also up under the frame, so I'm not gonna worry about them getting wet or anything. Next up, let's work on our O2 sensor. We've got to remove that off the exhaust and then unconnect that and pull it through as well. A spacer for this other bolt. I'm sure once my exhaust drops, I'll be able to get that. Our heat shield here is a 5 millimeter. O2 sensor plug is going to be a 17 millimeter. This sensor is gonna have enough slack in it to where you can screw it off without worrying about twisting up the wires or anything like that. And now that I've got it out, let's see what color wires we got. We got gray, black, and 2 whites. Up here we've got a couple connectors. Looks like we've got blue, green, and black. This one looks like a main one. I'm not gonna worry about this one. It looks like this one's got gray, 2 whites, and a black. I wonder if that's for it. And if I pull it, I pull on this connector, I can feel it's connected. There we go. And I can see it kind of goes through this mess here and then up under the bike, but I know this connector isn't going to be able to get pulled down. If you're removing your O2 sensor and you're getting it tuned, I'd say go for it. If not, it's going to take you a lot longer to do this process, but we just are going to cut it. And then we can pull our wires straight out. Worst comes to worst, if I do ever want to reuse this, which I probably never will, I can resolder these wires together with some quick wire connects, but I don't see myself using this again. All right guys, to get this bolt off, I'm gonna use a small socket with a gun, and then you have to put a wrench on the opposite side. Come on, Suzuki, really? Got the lower piece of our exhaust off. I'm not seeing it held up by much more. Let's go ahead and get it off at the headers. Easiest way to get access to your headers is to remove the lower support bolt for the radiator. You don't have to drain it or anything. It's a little 10 mil right here. This will allow the radiator to kind of lean forward, and then we get better access to our headers. Exhaust header bolts are a 6mm. You're gonna have 2 per cylinder. And we're just gonna take our time removing these. There's no real fast way to take off these exhaust bolts. Make sure you don't lose them. You're gonna be reusing them. Something that I'm not gonna reuse is the gaskets. I did order new ones. It's kind of a pain. I don't wanna do this again. Glad I got one of the best exhausts you can get, because I'm not doing this again. I will say it's very easy to replace your radiator. It's 3 bolts and a couple hoses, that's it. Give it a little shimmy sham and shimmy drop. There we go. Let's get our radiator out from under here. Whew. And this is it, guys. This is our exhaust system. Yes, I did put a slip-on on, and no, it didn't really make it any louder or sound any better. If you guys are wondering, your stock exhaust has one O2 sensor, comes in here. This is where your catalytic converter is sitting. This is just a big pre-muffler, and then it goes into the can, which really doesn't muffle anything. All right, guys, now that we've got the exhaust out, I have got my new exhaust laid out. I've numbered these pieces. M4 has separate header pipes. You have to remember to, I mean, they come labeled, but since I was Cerakoting it, I couldn't just draw a number on them. I actually drew a number on the inside here. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's number 4. One thing that you guys need to watch out for is we have our exhaust gaskets. They're not on the stock pipes, so they've got to be still up in the motor. We're gonna get our little pick and we're gonna pick them out real quick and replace them with these new ones. There we go. Guys, make sure you replace these. Look at this. It was a pain to get out, but this is the old one and this is the new one. So as you can see, they get crushed quite a bit. I'm using a very small flathead to kind of just wiggle in here and pry up a little bit. And once you get one side up, you can easily just pull it out. So the really nice thing about this is that they actually are held in there by just being nice and fat and plump. Now with the new exhaust gasket, this is not gonna sit flush. You're gonna have to draw the exhaust pipe in to the motor to crush that washer to make a perfect seal. One thing that we need to make sure we do is do one side and then do the other. We cannot tighten down one side fully and then do the other side fully. We want to take our time doing this, do them both at the same time. With our 6mm, I'm gonna go ahead and start tightening these down. And I'm not gonna tighten it down completely. I'll leave it a little bit loose so we can adjust it into the other pipe. All right, all of our headers are on very loosely. I mean, they're kind of tight, but they're just on there a little bit. Looks like M4 did give us a new bolt and some springs. $12mm on the back, 6mm hex key. Now let's go ahead and get this stock bolt out. All right, so we used the long bolt that M4 supplied us, and then the stock hardware on the other side. Use the stock hardware for this piece right here, this little bracket. It was a very, very, very tight fit. One of the things I left in here was a bushing that fell from the servo motor. Go ahead and get that out. I don't want that jiggling around in there. M4 did supply us with some exhaust springs. I have a spring puller that I got off of Amazon. It comes in a 2-pack. I'm gonna be using this to install these springs. There we go. All right guys, I was able to get the springs on. Make sure you use a spring puller. You have to have one of these. I don't know how I would have been able to get them on with just like a flathead or anything like that. I did have the exhaust on the bike, and that kind of made it a little tougher, I'd say, but it is doable. But I'll leave a link to these. I got these, I think, off of Amazon. I'll leave a link to them in the description. Make sure you guys snag a pair. They're cheap and it works. All right, so right now the exhaust is on. I've got all the springs from the headers in here. Gotta make sure they're completely hooked all the way. Next up, we need to tighten up the header pipes that go into the motor. I've got this piece back on. I've got the headers torqued down slightly. Right now I've got a zip tie holding up the radiator. That helped me be able to get to the header bolts. I've got this piece on. I ordered this piece from AliExpress. I take it this piece goes here, and I don't know where this hole goes. Looks like it would go somewhere else where maybe the stock exhaust bolt was. I'm not gonna use it. My exhaust is black. I wanna show it off. Let's go ahead and get the tank just kind of set on and fire it up. I'm also gonna be taking out the stock baffle that came with the exhaust to just open it up all the way. To remove the stock baffle, I've got this little pullers that I got off of Amazon. But now we should be ready to fire it up. I've got my garage door open so I don't die in here with the fumes. Let's see how she sounds. Holy crap, it's loud. Make sure you re-torque down your header bolts after you start it up. Let it get up to temperature, let it cool down fully, and then re-torque them. There was a couple that were not really loose, but could have been torqued down a little bit more. But all right guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Hope you guys have fun watching this. This bike has been a complete project, but I'm gonna go get it tuned in a couple days, and then we'll be completely done with it. Thank you for checking out this video. Hope you're having a good Friday, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.